Hey guys, it's Paula again from Vonish Crafty Designs, and here I am in my little corner of the living room. It is cooler here than it is in the other room, so we're going to do some video in here. Sometimes I get a little more of a glare or shadow due to the windows and stuff, but anyway, we're going to do the best we can, and I'm glad you're with me. I'm going to pull you down, and we're going to work on something that goes with junk journaling. If you've been following at all, there is a junk journal that has a diamond painting, a little mini diamond painting on the front. It's sunflowers and bicycles, and I've got it over here. I'll show it to you in a little bit. And I want to make some paper trim for the edges, and I thought I'll bring you along with me and show you my process. Everybody does something different, but I thought you might like to see my process. So hold on just a minute, and I'm going to move the camera down. Okay, so I have been looking through some of my items that I have, and as you can tell, this is just some music paper. I have a hymnal. I've got that. I've got some different colors of paper here, and I'll show you my hymnal. It's Singing Convention number 7, and apparently it's worse for wear because it's falling apart. So we want to repurpose it, and that's what we're going to do. We don't want it to go to waste. And so we'll use some of the pieces from here. Now in here I have solid color cardstock, and I love the teals and the blue colors. I think they will go well with what we're working with. We got some greenish color here. I'm gonna get a hold of it. I think I bought this at Walmart, actually, just in a container, and I just like the solid teal. I like that darker color also. So we'll just pull out a few of these. Let's see, and see what we want to work with. Let's pick out one of these, and they are cardstock, so they're pretty stiff. And maybe a lighter color, and an even lighter color. Now listen, this right here will go a very long way with what we're doing, and if you do have scraps, use scraps, you know. I just thought I would show you my process from the beginning. And this is something I purchased, again, I'm thinking it was Walmart, or maybe online, maybe on Amazon. And it is a sunflower. It's 180 pages, and it looks like, no, I'm sorry, 180 GSM, so it's thicker. It's a thicker, there's 36 double-sided printed pages. Sunflower collection. And there's so many beautiful, just beautiful papers in here. They can make a whole page, or they could, you know, make a trim. There's a lot of things you can do with them. So I thought what I would do is take a couple pages out of here and show you the process of maybe using them on our trim work. All right, so I'm just gonna put, any of them will do. I'm just gonna randomly pick this out. Sorry about the dogs, they seem the garbage guy. You know, we have to know when everybody's around here. It's just exciting, you know, it's exciting. All right, so we'll use a couple pages there. I've got other papers that I have purchased. I found these little containers because it's hard to find containers that fit like 12 by 12 sheets, but I found those on Amazon also. And then something else I like to use as a base is just a folder, a manila folder. If you have an older manila folders, they're just thick enough but thin enough too. They're pliable. And I like to have a base, and I use, I don't know, anywhere, any kind of thing that makes me happy. I mean, you know, but I'm gonna start with these things right here. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this down. Get some of this out of my way. And I am probably gonna, and I just eyeball things because I don't like to measure a lot. I'm probably going to cut, I don't know, what is this, an inch strip? And it won't be perfectly straight, but that's okay too. These things are handmade. Handmade things are done by hand. They're not done in a way that they look manufactured, correct? And I like these types of things because, you know, you can have an old file folder, manila folder anywhere from anything. And my husband used to run a plumbing company, so he had plenty of extra file folders. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to use these up, and that's what I do. I've used file folders as a base for some of my thinner junk journals. I've used them for pockets. There's just, the list is endless. So I'm just cutting some of these up. Now, if you have OCD and you don't like this and you need to measure away. No one's telling you that you cannot. I think that would be awesome. All right. And yeah, we'll just leave that over there. I don't know what to do with that yet. But anyway, some people like to attach these and put them in a roll and create a roll that they can use over and over for many different things. Because we're making these for a specific journal, I'm just going to leave them as strips. You know, if you know that you're going to make a bunch of journals and they are going to be, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Why not? Why not, I say. Okay, there's another one. If you know you're going to have a specific kind of journal, say vintage or bright colored journals or whatever, you can, you know, just make a base with 3 or 4 different types of paper. And then when you want to add these to journals, you can add decoration to your base, and you've got that also. All right, I do like using the inks, and then this one we used the photo, I think it's vintage photo, and fossilized amber. So I've got those, and I've got my little guys to help me punch with. I've got glitter glue, art glitter glue, and I've got Scotch permanent glue stick. You can use that, you can use staples, whatever you want to use. All right, so my first thing I like to do is just get my paper and, like, you know, make maybe a strip. I don't even know. Sometimes I do it by strips, like I'll cut these little strips, little pieces, and we'll make something more rectangular. Sometimes I'll tear them. I like the torn effect. I like that. And the torn effect is like if I just wanted to tear it and I got a rough edge. I don't know if you can see that. Just tear it, you know, and you get a rough edge. All right, and then I might take this type of material or paper, and it's because it's got like lettering or texture on it, music paper, dictionary paper, old book pages, all that has texture and wording on it makes for good, I think. And you can, of course, this is where we pulled it out of the book, and of course do some tearing on there, and you've got some more rough edges. Doesn't have to be any specific size, not any specific shape. And so we've got some torn ones, or we can do this. We can cut these just like we cut the colored and make rectangles. There is no wrong way of doing any of this. I'm just telling you. All right, and so let's put some of the colored paper on here. Let's just cut us off a strip. About these, I probably could cut these in half. About an inch, inch and a half is what I'd like to do, but you know, to each his own. It doesn't matter. And we just start cutting this into sections also. And what it ends up doing is, you know, giving us some different color, different dimension. you know, and we can rip it. Rip it just like you rip the other. So you got a torn look, you've got a straight look, and yeah. So there's that. Now, I'm gonna actually add in another color. We'll do some cutting of this. We'll just make us some boxes or strips. They do not have to be in any dynamic order. They can be rough or crooked or rough and crooked. It doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to cut another strip of this and we're going to tear some of it. It's just a lighter shade. We're just trying to give dimension to the project. Again, a lot of people call this mixed media because right now we're using paper. We're going to put ink on it. Later on, we might stick some ribbon or lace for fabric. You know, there's multimedia, meaning different mediums to work with. All right, let me get this down. And we're going to take another strip of our base. And we might take some ink. I'm going to use the yellow ink. And I'm just going to start working on the sides, just like this. Can you see that? Put some color on the sides. Some of this yellow is going to, you know, pop right out, and some of it's going to kind of blend in, and that's okay. Got some more on that. And this is, now these are the straight sides. All right. I'm just using the yellow on this one. As you can see. Okay. And the dogs have got to play a little bit because, well, we all need dogs play, right? Hey, let's be nice. Hey, let's be nice. That boy, he gets a little grumpy. All right, and we just keep, of course, the inking thing can take a bit, okay? I'm just going to try to show you the concept. Now, what I like to do is put a little bit of glue down. Oh, come on out. Watch it be stuck this morning. All right, so we won't use that glue. We'll use the glue stick, and that works just fine too. Now, if you're going to put fabric on it, you might go with a fabric type glue. Put your little glue down. Start with a little color, and you just kind of put that down. And I like to put them like, I don't know, that one just fell on there, didn't it? And that's fine too. I kind of like to put them at an angle. That's just me. If you feel like you don't have enough, put some glue on your paper. And we're just going to start going down through here and adding to our strip. And like I said, you can add just about anything you want to. You're layering, you're putting it over top. Hush. got to bark. He's got to bark. And then we just keep doing that until, let's see if I can find this. There we go. We get a strip done. And we'll do that all the way down through here till we get a strip done. Now, if you have your journal and say you want to decorate a page, let's say we're going to decorate this page. Well, we'll just glue that strip right to the edge there, hoping that you can see that as we cover all that up. And we have an edge that has decoration on it. You can add other things like beads or trim. Here's one that's already got this bag on it. Say we want to just add a little bit to the bag, so we could do that, if you can see that. Let me show you. You can add a little bit to the bag. You could put it across the top. Say you wanted to go across the top. And you got more decoration there. So as you create with the strips, you get a fuller look. So this is a base. They call this paper trim. Just a base that you can make with different strips. As you can see, this is very useful when it comes to scraps, you know, scrap papers, scrap music pieces. Even if you go to the mailbox and you have a bunch of junk mail, and maybe some of it has some color to it you like. Magazines, you can get it out of magazines. There are so many different ways, and you got a lot of this stuff at home, because what you're pulling out, others won't know that you got it maybe out of a magazine. I don't know, or maybe they will and say, oh wow, that's a cool idea. So there you go. But I'm adding a little bit of yellow to this one, and I may make another strip where I add some other color like the brown, because I'm using browns in here too. What I'm doing here is I'm just taking the ink, putting it on my sponge, and just brushing it along the edges of the paper. Turns out it makes it really cool looking. Really adds color and dimension to the little piece of paper. Alright, so these are strips. Get them glued down here. I really like this Scotch permanent glue stick. It works well with paper. And I've used other glue sticks, which, you know, the school glue sticks are good, and in a pinch, they're good to use. But they tend to pop, it tends to pop up quicker, the paper does. I don't know if the glue is just not as strong, and maybe it isn't. I don't know. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, let's put a little bit more color in here. This is what I need. Here I am trying to ink with glue. Okay. That's not going to work, huh? I may just want to stick it in the middle there to kind of break up the color. That could work. So yeah, I like making the strips to put on the edges or the tops of the pages. Usually they don't take too long to make at all. And like I said, this is just kind of the base. Once you get, you know, a strip down or whatever, you can even add more. You can add like little sunflower stickers or any kind of trim, any beads. That all can be added on even on top, because we're looking at the layering aspect of the artwork, okay? We're wanting to layer, and the layering creates this real pretty effect. And it looks like, you know, something really hard that you did, and it really is not that hard. It really isn't. Yeah. But it looks that way, so you know, we do what we do. We like it. All right. I'm getting down to the end of this first strip. There we go. All right. And this is an example of you doing a paper strip. Like I said, this one is more rectangular. I did these, which were more ripped or jagged, rough edged, which I like that effect too. And let's see here. Get this out of the way. Too many things in the way. So let's decide. Maybe we want to put this in a page. Maybe I want to put it, let's see. I want to put it here. No, it's better on the outside. So yeah, maybe I want to put it right here. And I'm going to cut this end off right here. We can put that right in there. And I'm thinking I would rather use this glue, but for some reason, this glue seems to be stuck. And that happens sometimes. Glue gets dried in there and then it don't want to come out. And a good thing to use when you have that issue is a straight pin, which I do not have one near me. But sometimes using a straight pin can help. Yeah, and it don't want to come out because it's clogged it. Shoot. Shoot, I say. See if I can find anything over here to help. Of course not. Of all the things I've got over here, you would think. Hold on just a minute. Hold on. Okay, I think I got that to work. I was thinking too, you know, maybe right here while I'm thinking about it, I will do some inking. Because the thing about inking, I mean, you can do it any time, really, but really good to do it right before you get to do other things. Inking is just something for me that I really like. Some people don't, and you don't have to. But I like it. Kind of gives us this antique look, and I like that. Okay, so I inked the edge with brown. I got this one done in yellow, and I think I'm going to glue it right on here. I got my glue to work again. This is Art Glitter Glue, and I really like it. I've moved it into this container because I like the nozzle in this kind of container. I think I got these on Amazon. I really don't remember. So I'm going to cover my base with glue, and I'm going to place it down on here where I want it. I'll hold it for just a second. And look here, we now have a trim on one of our pages. Isn't that cute? That's so cute. Now, I have this left over. And this is what someone would call a cluster. It's where you take your pieces, you do a base, and you just kind of, you know, put a bunch down that way. So you can make a strip and then cut it into clusters, or if you have extras left over like we have right now, right? Well, then we need to make some clusters. So we may just take one of these bases, cut us some little areas to put clusters on. Or, like I said, you can make your whole strip and just cut them off of there. But I know we have some leftovers over here, and we were using the gold on these. So we're just gonna kind of tip them off. And we're gonna stick that there. And this way, if you're working on a project and you like the matchy-matchy, as I call it, you can use the same scraps to create clusters to add maybe to, I don't know, maybe you want them in the corner of your page. Maybe you would like to add them on top of a pocket just to add a little bit of color, decoration. So, you know, clusters are good too. They add to things and help you create some really neat things that kind of coordinate together. Okay, and so here's just a piece. Say you just have a piece of scrap base. I call it the base, and you just want to start sticking some stuff on there. Well, there you go. Just stick it on your base. If some of your base shows, that's okay too. It's completely up to you. And so that, my friend, is what we call a cluster. So you have strips and you have clusters. All right, and we'll do another one here. This is a silicone mat, so I can wash it right off. This art glitter glue tends to be a little expensive, but I have used and used and used, and it does a real good job. Really good job of staying put. And I like the smaller tip because it's easier to direct where you want it to go. So there's a couple clusters right there. Now let's look at some of the ripped where I had ripped them. I can just do this and see how that looks on the edges, how we're getting a more, I really like the way the edges do when you rip something. It kind of, I think it's cool. Here's a brown. I don't know, it kind of defines that ripped area. And again, makes it a little more antique-y, and that is the vintage photo. So yeah, so those are pretty cool. And they work well together, and you can make strips and strips, and you can put them in your, like, okay, so we put, in this particular book, we've added a strip, right? We've added a strip. We have maybe a,
I didn't notice I got 4 assists too.
Sorry, my son's playing a game. Maybe we want to add that right there onto our little bag.
11.
And there we go.
You, I did it again.
All right, well, we're done for today. I just thought I would show you these few things, and I hope that you will be safe, happy, and blessed. And like, subscribe, and share. Thanks again. See you later. Bye-bye.